All right, Shalom. Before I start off, like the first and foremost, as always, give all honor, glory, and praise unto our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakudash. Double honor to our apostles and elders of great millstone, taught us the truth and rule well. The true leaders of the nation of Israel, which consists of these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as these speckled bird Israelite foreigners scattered abroad. All right, according to the Holy Bible, we are God's chosen people. All right. Shalom to the elect. Tabernacle of David, which is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. I am the brother Shamaria, back with another lesson. All right. Which I was doing a read of this article from Technocracy News. All right. And it reads, the tokenization of everything, including you. Now, I did a lesson on tokenization itself, in which you have blockchain, assets, stocks, bonds, and so on, being digitized. All right. Assets are being tokenized. All right. Now I'm gonna briefly explain again what tokenization is. All right. Briefly go into the Genius Act once again. All right, just to show you that the infrastructure is changing. All right. And the MOTB is sure on its way. All right. And the more and more you're going to hear of brothers, bring this thing up, because it's one of the last major prophecies we're looking for. All right. Before the destruction of America. All right. World War III, blowing full-scale nuclear, okay, and the deliverance of the elect from where we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. So the tokenization of everything, including you. It says infrastructure for biodigital convergence and erosion of human sovereignty. What is asset tokenization? Asset tokenization is a process of converting real-world assets, real estate, stocks, bonds, gold, art, and increasingly biometrics, health data, and even human behavior into programmable digital tokens on a blockchain. These tokens enable fractionalization, turning indivisible assets into tradable slices that can be bought, sold, or restricted instantly, 24/7. What begins as a seemingly efficient upgrade to markets is rapidly evolving into the foundational layer for a system where everything, including your body and mind, can be digitized, tracked, and controlled. All right. So when you hear of tokenization, when you understand, Trump recently saying the financial infrastructure getting a 21st century upgrade. All right. You understand that controlling people via their technology is at the forefront of all these talks. All right. All these ideas. Okay. And that will be possible through the RFID microchip, the mark of the beast, pursuing Revelation 13 and 16. Okay. This is what these elites want. And they want to be as the Most High God on the earth. See everything you're doing, track everything you're doing, your every movement, your thoughts even, programming the people. All right. Controlling, like having literal control over people, man. All right. These things were, the RFID microchip was, as it was revealed unto John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, it will come to pass. All right. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet from the appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely, come and will not tarry. Roughly paraphrase. It says, right now, it says current ownership versus the tokenized future. Right now, traditional ownership still offers a measure of tangible sovereignty. You hold the deed to your home or build equity in it, even under a mortgage, and no one can instantly freeze or trade it away without your consent or due process. One could argue that ongoing property taxes make outright ownership feel like leasing from the government, but that's a separate debate. Now imagine the future they're openly building. Every asset gets tokenized. Your house turned into digital tokens. Your car, tokens. Your savings, tokens. Even the water you drink through tokenized rights and utilities. The air you breathe via carbon credits or emissions tracking. And how are they going to be able to do that? Is through that technology. Through that implantable device, here it talks about carbon footprint, That's all going into the chip, man. How they're going to be able to measure all that out is through that implantable device. All right. It says in your biometrics, all tokenized, digitized, and subject to the same programmable ledger. This isn't just about finance. It's the gateway to total intermediation, where the essentials of life become conditional entries in a control system. Regulatory rails for total control. The mechanics of the Genius and Clarity Acts. The infrastructure is already laid, codified in law. In July 2025, the Genius Act, guiding and establishing national innovation for U.S. stablecoins. All right. And you see how, I did a lesson on it. Fidelity Investments, for example, just came with their own stablecoin, right? Which is called the FIDD, the Fidelity Investments Digital Dollar. This is where everything is going. All right, the money becoming digital. It's going to lead to the adoption of the implantable microchip. As I spoke in the previous lesson, okay? That becomes the de facto compulsory, in finance as far as, digital wallets. All right. Let me just keep going. It says, the infrastructure is already laid, codified in law. In July 2025, the Genius Act, again guiding and establishing national innovation for U.S. stablecoins, established a federal regime for payment stablecoins mandating 100% reserves in cash or short-term treasuries, full KYC/AML compliance, public disclosures, and bank licensing for issuers. It authorizes insured institutions to custody and tokenize deposits and money market instruments, while the complementary Clarity Act, Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, delineates qualified users, enforces one-on-one backing with audits, and exempts compliant stablecoins from securities rulers. The result, digital dollars in your wallet will be bank or state approved, fully traceable tokens, not free cryptocurrencies. These laws underpin the tokenization of everything, enabling on-chain digitization of funds, treasuries, ETFs, and beyond, all within regulated boundaries, prioritizing surveillance over decentralization. Because they want to see where the money is going. They want to see what people are, what transactions people are making with programmable money. Okay? This is why people, a lot of people, even though, you have a lot of people that don't carry cash, will prefer things like Apple Pay, Google Pay, a digital wallet to having physical cash on hand. A lot of people actually, few people actually prefer to carry cash, for that very reason. It can't be tracked, so to speak. But I'm going to continue. Howard Lutnick, as Commerce Secretary, aligns perfectly. He advocates dollar-backed stablecoins under rigorous oversight, where AI and blockchain transparency allow authorities to trace, track, and freeze transactions, just like traditional payments. In hearings and statements, he endorses this as eliminating crime, but it builds a programmable AI-enforced grid. Larry Fink celebrates it as the next generation for markets, with BlackRock's tokenized funds leading the charge. Yet this system preserves and amplifies safeguards like KYC gateways, blacklisting, and automated compliance that turn ownership into conditional access. These acts intersect directly with the World Economic Forum's "You will own nothing and be happy" the vision in Klaus Schwab's Fourth Industrial Revolution, fusing digital, physical, and biological spheres. I'm not sure we'll be so happy unless we come to love our servitude in Huxley's Brave New World. Soma, anyone? They simplify fractionalization, leasing, and real-time revocation of access from homes to devices mediated by intermediaries who can exclude users via risk scores or rule violations. All right, remember they wanted to bring a social credit system. All right, which, yes, that will be tied to the money as well. It says, furthermore, they accelerate technocracy, empowering regulators, SEC, CFTC, FED, and algorithms to dictate standards, enforce freezes, and collect data for predictive control. Decision-making shifts from democratic processes to elites and code, eroding constitutional sovereignty in favor of efficiency and oversight. And that's pretty much the device, efficiency and oversight. That's how they're going to push the chip. Oh, it's efficient. It's more secure. It's more convenient as opposed to having your phone, physical credentials that can be lost, damaged. Thereby, you can't access your finances. Well, with this implantable technology, if it's inside of you, you can't lose it, and nobody can tamper with it. That type of thing. All right. But we know what's up, man. A lot of people are gonna be through the pressures. Revelation 3 and 10. The hour of temptation. Let me just grab that. Because like I was saying in my last lesson, the coercion where people feel pressured to have to adopt this change all stems from what's happening economically. All right. And the social pressure, the FOMO, the fear of being left out, and people looking at you crazy if you don't have that device, because it becomes, again, the de facto compulsory. It becomes like what's required all across the board, because all other alternatives, whether physical credentials, digital wallet, so on and so forth, they become impractical to use because so many different things, right? I explained it in my last lesson. But they're trying to make it to where they're going to make it to where, without this technology, all right, without this this implantable device, you're locked out. You're pretty much locked out of the society. You have no access to anything. So this is Revelation 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, the hour of temptation. This is because thou hast kept the word of my patience, man. Because we kept this truth. All right. The Lord is gonna keep his elect, man. The Lord is gonna have his elect be able to resist this thing, even unto death. All right. things are getting ready to be really rocky. Once this thing is pretty much pushed, heavily. Salakia. I'm trying to pull up the interlinear. And my phone just decided to be slow. All right, give me a second. Slack. Try to pull this up on my laptop. And it's down. But it says Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I'll also keep thee from the hour of temptation. All right. Now, when you break down the word there for temptation, well, it says that hour, which in the Greek is ora, which is a certain time, a definite time, in which this thing is going to become effectively mandate. The Lord is going to allow these devils to push this technology heavy, all right? To where, without it, all right, you have no access to anything within the society. You're effectively locked out. At that point, we have to wholeheartedly trust in Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, have faith in Yahweh B'Shem El Shai. All right, when we have no access to food because the circumstances are, that no other alternative is accepted, right? And we're gonna have to lean upon our faith. But it says the hour of temptation. Temptation. It says pirasmo. Which is the enticement to sin. All right. And Salaki, I can't even pull it up. But it goes into because of the outward circumstances, right? Which, you can equate that to, with this thing being pretty much what's being pushed as the de facto compulsory. All other alternatives to it, when you hear talks of digital ID and they're saying it's not secure enough to ensure one's, prove one's U.S. identity, so on and so forth, right? Those things effectively become, obsolete when this is at when this thing is pushed as, the norm. Basically, people are gonna feel that pressure, right? Because of the outward circumstances, they lose access to certain things. They feel the pressure, the FOMO kick in, the fear of missing out because they're looking at, friends and family, taking the chip. You're going to have celebrities pushing the chip. You're going to have people esteemed highly in the society pushing the chip. People are going to feel that pressure to succumb to this devil, man, and his advances. It says, what shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. This thing is going to be pushed, globally. All right. No, Salaki, I couldn't even pull up the blue letter because I think it's down. I'm on Wi-Fi at the crib, but I'm not able to pick it up. I'm not able to pull it up off my mobile data either. But I'm gonna just go back to this article. It says, furthermore, they accelerate technocracy. Okay, I read that. Decision-making shifts from democratic processes to elites and code, eroding constitutional sovereignty in favor of efficiency and oversight. It says the core danger lies in programmability. Tokens are not neutral representations of property. They are code that can be designed to expire, freeze, or restrict based on compliance scores, social credit, see? Like metrics or algorithmic rules. Ownership becomes access revocable at the whim of users. It's like issuers, platforms, or regulators. Miss a payment, violate a policy, fall below a risk threshold, your tokenized home, vehicle, or even access to services can be locked. This is not speculation. It is the explicit capability of smart contracts in a regulated bank-integrated ecosystem. It says biodigital convergence and the tokenization of the human. Tokenization is not stopping at financial or material assets. The same infrastructure is extending into the biological realm. Biodigital convergence, biometrics, DNA data, neural patterns, which is dealing with the brain. Hey, you have brain-computer interfaces. You know, really, there's so many references, man, to what they want to do with this technology in media, in films, all right, shows even. How they want to use this technology to control people. Look at, you could watch the second season of that show, Fallout. All right. You had that brain chip that Mr. House had developed. You know, and what's the girl's name? Lucy. You know, her father was a member of the Enclave, which, you know, according to the show, was like a faction, a continuation of the American government after nuclear fallout. That's really what these devils think, that they're gonna be able to rise up after, you know, the whole, you know, World War III burns over, if you will. It's not gonna happen. You know, they got the deep underground military bunkers. You know, these elites, right? Rothschilds, Rockefellers, so on. They think they're just gonna emerge after, you know, this Third World War and start over again. It ain't gonna happen like that. All right. The Lord gave Esau his time to do his, you know, dirt in the earth, so to speak, and he's getting ready to, you know, have us lead them into captivity. But yeah, you know, there's other references in film, because they always throw this shit in people's faces. You know, that's what you call the revelation of the method, right? They show you what they want to do with this technology. They want to be able to control people through their technology. Continuing, it says DNA data, neural patterns, and health metrics are already being digitized and fractionalized in pilot programs and social impact finance initiatives. What begins with tokenized carbon credits or ESG scores ends with human behavior itself tokenized, rewarding compliance, punishing dissent, and nudging populations toward predetermined outcomes. This is the fourth industrial revolutionary vision articulated by Klaus Schwab. The fusion of physical, digital, and biological spheres. Your body becomes an asset class. Your attention, choices, and biology become tradable data streams, feeding AI systems that predict and steer behavior. Let me read that again. Your attention, choices, and biology become tradable data streams, feeding AI systems that predict and steer behavior. They're gonna have people out here like a hive mind. You know, look at an example. An example of this would be like the Borg from Star Trek. All right. The idea of AI driving a hive mind. The AI is programmed by these devils to control everything. And as brothers have been, saying, Esau is going to be these people's God through AI. AI systems that predict and steer behavior. Free will erodes as incentives and restrictions are baked into the tokens that govern access to daily life. This is the financial and technological substrate for you will own nothing and be happy. Not as a utopian sharing economy, but as a subscription-based control grid. Durable property rights are replaced by revocable permissions. Institutions trade and profit continuously while individuals rent access to what they once owned outright. The genius and clarity frameworks, far from providing regulatory clarity for freedom, are the iron scaffolding for a technocratic system where algorithms and experts, not individuals or democratic processes, hold ultimate authority. Programmable money and assets enable automated enforcement of policy at the protocol level, turning dissent or non-compliance into immediate material consequences. Right, because, anybody who was outspoken against, what these devils are going to have going on, they're going to be shut off. They're going to be shut off to everything. It says turning dissent or non-compliance into immediate material consequences. You see? Tokenization is not merely a new tool for markets. It is the operating system for a post-human paradigm where sovereignty is replaced by managed participation and free will is subordinated to algorithmic governance. The convergence of blockchain, AI, and biology is not inevitable progress. It is an engineered shift toward total control sold as convenience and inclusion. If unchecked, it yields digitalized feudalism where human agency tokenizes away. Reject the illusion, defend individual sovereignty before permanent encoding into the ledger. But that's pretty much it on that, Just thought I'd bring that out. This is what they want. All right? This is ultimately what they want. Psalm 10:3. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked is dealing with the elites of the society, man. The elites of Esau, Edom. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire. Their heart's desire is their New World Order enterprise. Technocracy, all right, and everything that was brought out here. Control over everything, man. Control over people. And, totalitarian control, man. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous whom the Lord abhorreth. And this is why, they've been coming out more openly about, their push for a new world order. All right, you just had Vice President J.D. Vance come out and say it openly. All right? Because they're not hiding anymore. But you got a lot of brainless individuals out there that think nothing of it. But No, beginning with the elder apostles and elder bishops on down for years. We've been saying this was gonna they were gonna push for this thing. All right. Let me grab this and I'll close. And the Lord will only let them get so far. Just to throw that out there, the Lord will only let them get so far. But he's getting ready to cast them down, man. All right? These Edomites will be cast out of power. And the nation of Israel underneath Yahushai, all right? And the governing body, the 144,000, and King David, will rule this world in righteousness, man, forever. Okay? There will be no uprising. No, these heathen nations will be totally subjected and tributary unto us. And Esau, after a long 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, will be done away with as a people, man. All right? This is what they're trying to fight against. This is Ezekiel, the book of Ezekiel 12. In 21, it says, "And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, The days are prolonged, and every vision faileth." And this is really the mind of our, the stiff-necked and rebellious of our people. They think that what we're saying is null and void. All right? That these things won't come to pass. What do you have the other, leadership of these camps saying? The ISUPK saying Jacob Trouble is gay. These other camps are telling their congregations they're following that the MOTB is everything outside of what it truly is, and what the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone have said and proved what it is for years. All right? The days are prolonged and every vision filleth. Verse 23, "Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision." All these prophecies that were written for these times will come to pass exactly as they were written, exactly as they were revealed unto the prophets in time past. All right? We're here to declare these things unto you, people. Because it will happen. You will see this technology pushed. We will see this technology pushed in our lifetime, man. This is not something that's going to be 2070. You're going to see people walking around with chips in. No. All right? You're going to see this thing very soon. Matter of fact, it's already here. It's already here. It's in development. It's in talks. And Lord willing, I find that clip of Joe Biden telling, the now current Chief Justice of the Supreme Court that he would rule on implantable technology. That was Joe Biden back then, U.S. Senator. All right, telling then Judge John Roberts that he would rule on The implantable microchip technology, man. All right. John Roberts is now the current Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. It says, verse 24, for there shall be no more any vain vision or flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am the Lord Yahweh, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall no more be prolonged. For in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, said the Lord Yahweh. And for the leadership of these other camps, what can they say when these things really begin to be manifest? You know? What are they going to tell their congregations when this thing is in their face? Verse 26. Again the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come. And he prophesied of the times that are far off. Therefore say unto them, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. And in closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory once again to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honor to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, taught us truth and were well, and are the true leaders of the nation of Israel. To the elect of the nation of Israel, I say shalom. On to the next one. Shalom.